Hey everyone, welcome to the From One Man to Another podcast. My name is David Massara, and this is my first ever episode. I thought I would kick things off with the show by giving you a little introduction about why I decided to start something like this. Um, you know, It's it's interesting. Like if you've been following along with my blog, if you don't already know, I started a blog a few months ago on Instagram. The story with how I started this podcast is similar to how I started the blog. I was hanging out with my friend named Raheem. We were hanging out in his backyard, and he told me that he thought I had a lot of good ideas and that I needed some kind of creative outlet to express them. So I'm really grateful to him because if it wasn't for him and that conversation, I may not have ever started a blog and a podcast. So big shout out to him. Um, it's been a tough year for me. There have been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of new experiences, a lot of challenging moments, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of chaos. And with that, came, a fair bit of like fear and doubt and insecurity. So all that to say, there was a lot of growth for me in 2025. Um, as I'm recording this, we're now in 2026. It's today, January 2nd. But in 2025, yeah, there was a lot of growth, and some of it was came through positive experiences, and others came through more negative experiences. And I guess that's how it goes sometimes through life. And I guess you know through it all, I just yeah, like felt the need to kind of share some of that experience with people because going through some of those difficult times, it definitely felt lonely at times. I definitely felt isolated at times, and it's easy to feel like you're the only one. But the more I started opening up to people about what was going on, the more I realized that a lot of that I wasn't alone, and a lot of the things I were experiencing were fairly common, and a lot of people could relate to them. So that got me thinking about maybe starting something where I can share a little bit more about what's really going on as a way of connecting with people in more meaningful ways and maybe helping other people overcome some of their challenges and know that they're not alone either. Um, Another thing is if you know me personally or if you've been following along with my blog, you know that I um, often struggle with like persistent feelings of inadequacy. You could call that maybe having low self-esteem. Basically, like I kind of I usually feel like I'm not good enough. When I look at myself in the mirror, I usually see someone who's not good enough, who's missing or lacking something. And sometimes, I even feel like something is wrong with me, and then maybe I'm just like strange and weird. And in the past, um, in order, like, I would really like to be honest, I would compensate for that by like taking on challenging things and trying to stack up new achievements. But I realized that after accomplishing things and telling myself, oh, like I may not feel good enough right now, but once I accomplish A, B, C, then I will be good enough. Then I'll feel better about myself. But I did that many times throughout my life, and here we are, still feeling not so great about myself. So, and to be completely honest, I did start to think about that when I wanted to start my blog and my podcast. But then I realized, like, no, like I can't keep doing this. I can't keep going through this vicious cycle of like achievement and then like basing my self-worth on my achievements and then feel like having that not work out. So, and what that led me to is really realizing that I think the missing ingredient for me is a greater sense of self-acceptance. So that's like as I said, we're now in the beginning of 2026. Like not only is that kind of like the theme that I want 2026 to be about for me, rather than, like a New Year's resolution. Like, I really want that to be a goal of this podcast and my blog as well. Like, not only helping me cultivate a deeper sense of self-acceptance for myself, but hopefully helping other people do the same, and recognize that, you know, we we are enough, just that's just the way we are. And there's nothing wrong with being ambitious or wanting to better yourself, but I think there are a lot of people walking around carrying that sense of inadequacy and feeling like they need to do more things to prove that they are good enough. But hopefully my journey and my story and my experience can help other people realize that, that's not true, and really embrace the fact that they are enough and they are already whole and complete. Similarly, I've always believed in the power of vulnerability. I try to lead by example in that regard, by being pretty open about the things that I struggle with and where I'm at in life, and trying not to like be someone I'm not, and just be real and authentic with people about where I'm at and what's going on for me. And the reason I do that is because I feel like vulnerability leads to more fulfilling relationships. There's all kinds of quotes out there. Maybe some of them are even a bit cliche about the link between vulnerability and deeper relationships in one way or another. Some people say there is no intimacy without vulnerability, or like vulnerability is the building blocks, of intimacy, or stuff like that. Um, and yeah, I just think, kind of like what I said earlier, it's so easy for us to feel alone and isolated in our challenges. And it can be really hard to be vulnerable with people, meaning like honest about like what's really going on. But I think that is what really bonds us as human beings, when we can relate to other people, and see that we're not alone, and other people are going through the same things that we are. It just makes us feel more connected. And it's an interesting contrast, because I'm sure none of that is really surprising to hear. I'm sure a lot of people like, uh, understand that at some level, like that there's a link between vulnerability and intimacy and connection and healthy relationships. But still, in the heat of the moment, it can be hard for us to open up about stuff that we're struggling with. So hopefully, I'm hoping that this journey will also help people really lean more into vulnerability, and hopefully that can help them have, deeper connections with people, and more meaningful relationships. Another thing that I'm hoping to do with this whole adventure is, really like, support people, who are kind of like me, in the sense of like, we're just getting started on our journeys of whatever it may be. Like, there, like, all the great podcasts out there, like the most popular podcasts, um I think, like they what they do that's really cool is they give like they give like the coolest people in the world basically a platform. Like, they highlight the stories and experiences of like people who are already doing amazing things, really interesting things, really cool things, who have achieved like an extraordinary level of success in their field. And that is amazing. Like, to be able to have access to that much information and insight and wisdom is incredible. And I have taken so much inspiration from many of those, podcasts, which I'm very grateful for. But I think, like, at least, um, within the limitation of my perspective and the podcast that I've seen, I think like a bit of a gap that's out there is like highlighting the experiences of like I said, people who may not have like quote unquote made it yet, but like who are just getting started in their journey, but are still doing really great work and having a really positive impact on a lot of people. And I think the value of that is, I think there are a lot of people who would like to try something different, maybe make a career change, go back to school, start a new business, whatever it might be. But it can be daunting to like try something new. So hopefully, like, highlighting the the experiences of people who are really transforming themselves for the better can help both them get more exposure and traction with whatever they're trying to do, but also help people who are interested in trying something new but might be having a hard time getting started. Again, know that they're not alone and other people are going through those similar challenges and experiences. And another thing that's really valuable um, and really important to me, I think, is this concept of like people being the person they have always wanted to be. Again, if you know me personally, or if you followed along with my blog over the last few months, you know that's something I do that's really personal and important to me is I participate in men's circles, and it's all about helping each other. Basically, what we say is at the end of the day, we're all trying to help each other be the man that we've always wanted to be. That's kind of like a construct that we have, like a lens or a filter that we use to kind of view life and help us make better decisions, basically. So, and I think like that can be a really powerful concept and motivator for a lot of people. Basically create a vision for yourself of like who is the person that you always wanted to be. What is the life of your dreams that you always wanted to live? Um, I'm still, on my journey of figuring that out, what that means for me. And I think, this blog and this podcast might be a big part of that in terms of like connecting with people and helping people and serving a hopefully a greater purpose bigger than myself. And so that's kind of like another aim of mine with this adventure, is to help people get more clear on who is the person that they always wanted to be, and what does the life that they always wanted to live look like, and then help them, you know, identify and overcome whatever barriers are in the way so they can actually make that happen. That would be really meaningful for me. And maybe like most importantly, at the end of the day, um, I think what I'm trying to achieve here is like, I just want to have fun, like I really enjoy having great conversations with people and connecting with people in more meaningful ways, and developing more personal relationships, and also really learning from the incredible like diversity of experience and perspective that's out there, and just approaching all the unique experiences that people have with curiosity, and seeing what I can learn from it, and how I can use that to be a better person myself. So I really just, I think a big part of it for me is just like the opportunity to either connect or reconnect with people and just have really meaningful conversations, and hopefully share some of the wisdom and insights that is generated through those conversations with other people, so they can be helpful for them too. Um, and I've said this before. I've kind of alluded to it here. I've said it probably more than one of my blog posts. I say it to people I know personally when I talk about this. Like at the end of the day, um, I don't really know what I'm doing. I've never done anything like this before. I'm honestly kind of uncomfortable and outside my comfort zone, and nervous right now, if you can't tell through the my body language or the tone of my voice. But I think that's okay, and I'm like leaning into that discomfort and uncertainty, and again just trying to be myself and not shy away from that. um and maybe that also makes it fun as well. Like it's a venture, it's a venture into the unknown for me as well. And maybe that there's like a lot of fun in that to be had as well. um Getting towards the end here, I guess to sum it all up, if I had to say like what are the core values of this podcast and my blog, and just what I'm really trying to focus on, like bringing in to the world, and or like sharing with people in and like if I had to summarize that in like a few core values, what would I say? I would say the core values that I really want to embody with what we're doing here is are humility, authenticity, vulnerability, acceptance, and adventure. And I think that, if we really embrace those 5 core values, um, with everything that we do, I really do believe that we can identify and overcome all of our challenges in life and be the people that we want to be and live the lives that we want to live. And and the world will be a much better place for it. So that's kind of my overarching purpose, I guess, behind doing all this. So just wrapping up this introductory episode, just wanted to share a little bit about my plan for getting this off the ground and what you can expect from me coming down the pipeline in the near future. Um, you know, this is it's right now it's just kind of a hobby and a passion project for me. I do have like a full-time job and other stuff going on. So as much as I would love to do it all the time, I have to balance it with other priorities. So right now, kind of similar to my blog, I'm hoping to I'm aiming to have one episode per week, like a new episode every week. And most of my episodes, if not pretty much all of them, will have like a guest that I'm going to be uh, interviewing. So that won't just be it. Don't worry if you're already tired of my voice, I don't blame you, but don't worry. Hopefully you won't be hearing as much of it, and you'll be hearing the voice of other cooler, more interesting people in the near future. Um, and so another plan for my episodes is like again, a lot of the like really famous, prominent podcasts out there have really long and in-depth episodes that are like 2, 3, 4 hours each, or even longer in some cases. And that's amazing. And I think in many cases the people who are on those podcast episodes and the topics they're discussing are so like complex and nuanced and intricate that maybe it does require like a podcast episode that long to really um, do it justice and properly discuss those topics. In my case, I would say like, I'm not claiming to be like an expert at anything. I'm like the name suggests, I'm just a one guy, and it's just from one man to another. So it's not it, and nothing I say here is professional advice or an expert opinion. It's just me kind of sharing my lived experiences and with people. Um, so with that, like I think my goal is to make the episodes more like succinct and bite-sized, so they're easier. Well, like firstly, practically for me, because I'm a total noob when it comes to podcasting, it just makes it easier to manage. The shorter the episode means it's less time spent planning content, recording, editing, uploading, less storage space needed, maybe less equipment needed, all kinds of those things. So I'm mindful of that, as I'm getting it off the ground, not making it too hard for myself in the beginning. But also like for the viewers, just making it so it's a bit more digestible and easy to consume. So um, rather than watching like a 4 hour long podcast episode in segments throughout the week, my goal is to keep the episodes to a maximum of 30 minutes, and that way people um, can listen to them. Don't need too much time to listen to them, so they can listen to an episode while they're taking their dog for a walk, or going for a short drive in the car, or commuting to work, or doing chores around the house. And again, just making some of that real world kind of experience, and the experiences of the guests I'm hoping to have on here just much more accessible to people. So I hope those intentions end up landing with people, and it resonates with people, and it's helpful and meaningful for people. So yeah, um, just going through my notes here and seeing if there's anything else that I missed. To be completely honest, this is kind of strange. This is actually the second time I'm recording this today, because now I'm recording it on Zoom, and I'm just like going to get the audio and video file from Zoom once I end the call. But earlier I just recorded it using the camera app on my laptop, and then I realized that like the file size was huge, and that made it like too hard to upload to Spotify and YouTube. So I'm like, oh great, I have to do this again, and I have to look at myself in the camera again and hear my voice again. So fantastic, and I'm just racking my brain around whether I missed anything. But I think I pretty much covered everything I wanted to say. And we're gonna try it round two and see if the upload goes better. I've already recorded my first real episode with a guest, and that was through Zoom, and the file size was much smaller, so I think I'm gonna be okay. But fingers crossed, and we'll hold my breath. You'll find out how it goes one way or another, I guess. Um, so I'll wrap it up there for now. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for your time and attention. I really do appreciate it. I hope this was helpful and meaningful and maybe a little bit interesting for you. And I look forward to going on this journey with you all and sharing in all of the lessons and wisdom and experiences that we're gonna have. So um, much love, um, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Take care.